The Nightfarers. The will to cross the endless night and fight on. Till every shred of their being is ground away.
How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Black Wolf, and today I'd like to talk about Elden Ring Nightreign and why I love this game. It's such a damn shame because the Git Gud community want to write this game and dismiss it, and it breaks my heart because the whole point of these From Software games is to overcome challenges, right? So because it's not tied to more of Elden Ring in the sense of it's a DLC or anything like that, I know a lot of people who are loyalist to From Software and are a fan of the base game want to shit on this game without even giving it a try. And hopefully I can change their minds in some way, shape, or form. This is not going to be like a review of the game or anything. Look at it more of a video essay of sorts, to where I just keep it real with you guys. I'm not here to suck off Daddy Miyazaki, not here to gas up the Souls franchise or tell you the Souls game saved my life X, Y, and Z, because quite frankly, if you grew up in any amount of honest adversity in life, the Souls games are BS self-inflicted struggle at worst, or genuinely just another game at best. These games are just entertainments or a stress simulator. That's it. Anybody else trying to gas it up is just trying to look for brownie points, bro. Like, I'm gonna keep it straight halal with you, bro. They just want to be patted on the head for beating a hard game. And that's one of the things I hate about the Git Gud community. They want to uphold this invisible wall. They want to uphold this invisible badge of honor for beating these games. Rather than just enjoying the product for what it is and reviewing the game, they want to make it bigger than life. And I've always found that shit weird. As a gamer, meaning I'm not just loyal to one game, right? I'm able to enjoy IPs, different games, and call out the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is why I'm here, which is what we're going to do with this game. I have no allegiance to From Software. I have no allegiance to any gaming studio. But the Git Gooders do. And it's about damn time to get called out. This shit needs to stop. You guys are gatekeeping an imaginary badge of honor at the end of the day. And as a result, it's stagnating From Software, right? With that mindset, if something's not Dark Souls, if something's not Demon Souls in combat or Dark Souls in combat, it's mid at best to y'all. And with that mindset, we would never have gotten Sekiro. With that mindset, we would never have gotten Elden Ring Nightreign. And it needs to fucking stop, guys. Please. If not, keep that shit on Reddit. At the very least, like, keep that shit amongst y'all basement dwellers, bro. Because us 9-to-5 folks, people who just want to enjoy a good product, we don't give a fuck about none of that. No part of me has ever beaten any of these From Software games and go, I know how to overcome struggles in life now. No, that's fucking bullshit, bro.
Long, long ago, the lands between were visited by a great war. The Shattering, as it was known, destroyed order itself. Drawing forth in time an abomination. Thus fell upon us the night. Now heavy rains harry the region, threatening to wash away its very history. The Night Lord does not rest. As it ravages the lands between beyond recognition. But there are those who would fight back. The Nightfarers. Brought together by happenstance, their commonalities are but few. No shared station, era, or even purpose. Yet together, they are bound by a will. The will to cross the endless night and fight on. Till every shred of their being is ground away. Alas, the curtain may be drawing to a close upon this world. You are awake. I know not why, but once again it has happened. So be it. Condemned, I welcome you to the Round Table Hold.
Because life is a struggle in itself. I push through that shit every day with a positive attitude, and I keep going, right? Some days I fold, some days I get sad, I get depressed, right? But I pick myself up and I keep fucking going. And that is the whole point of these From Software games. Don't fucking hollow out, right? Y'all have the energy to sit there and write a fucking 3-hour long fucking rant about how not to hollow out, but then y'all don't want to practice that as a gamer? It baffles my fucking mind. Anyway, now that that's out the way, if I pissed off any of Daddy Miyazaki goons, good. Get out of here. This video is not for you. But if you're still here and you genuinely care about gaming and you want to try something new, you've been thinking about getting into From Software but are too afraid to hop into it balls deep like the Dark Souls games or Elden Ring, you want to kind of ease your way into it, this video might be for you. You might be who I'm talking to, right? The Git Gooders, they already have their mind made up. They're a lost cause. I'm not talking to them. But if you're an average Joe who loves gaming like me and is just looking for a good time, you're looking for a fun challenge and experience, this video is for you, right? So, let's talk about the good in Elden Ring Nightreign. The good. Nightreign is addictive, or has the potential to be, if you're a fan of the Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Elden Ring combat. Nightreign retains a lot of the core design from those earlier games I mentioned, but cranks it up by giving you, the player, mobility. To me, this was what was missing from Elden Ring base game. Unlike Dark Souls, where the bosses take a turn, you're on defense, you dodge a series of, moves that's just gonna vigor check you, but then the bosses stop, then in return you get the opportunity to punish the bosses. It creates this seamless dance of sorts, right? This dance of death, and there's a element of fairness to it. Base game Elden Ring said, fuck all that, bro. The bosses have input commands, so when you're going to heal, they'll crank up their assault. When you're going to do something, it will willfully do the opposite. It's artificial difficulty that's there just to be difficult, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't like when studios just kind of want to fuck with their player base just to say, haha, we made a hard game. Nah, miss me with the dumb shit, bro, right? So at the end of the day, I wasn't really a fan of Elden Ring. The main game, combat-wise, to me, it felt like Daddy Miyazaki just wanted to make Dark Souls 4, but for whatever reason chose not to. Instead, just giving us Elden Ring. Elden Ring didn't feel any different. I grew up playing the Dark Souls games, and I hated each one of them. I'm not gonna keep it like gameplay-wise. To this day, I still listen to VOD videos about the lore. I still go out of my way and get involved in Discord when it comes to the lore of the Dark Souls universe. I love that shit. Storytelling, mwah, chef kiss. But from a gameplay point of view, the Dark Souls games have always been too boring to engage in with me. You roll, wait 5 business days for the boss to attack, then you get like 2-3 seconds to punish them. Miss me with all that, right? Elden Ring Nightreign said, here's friends, here's mobility, have fun. And that's the important part. Fun. Now, there's gonna be some dude already tilting up his glasses, I already know. Well, you see, fun is subjective. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Have fun, right? Elden Ring Nightreign is fun. The combat is addictive. The game loop is addictive. Taking the Souls element and putting it into a battle royale, addictive. I'm already a fan of the battle royale genre. Not Call of Duty, but I'm a fan of the battle royale genre. You feel me? And seeing risk be implemented like that, I love that shit. Creativity pouring out the wazoo. As an artist myself, I can admire the balls and the cojones that From Software has to even put this out there. And it demands freaking respect. So I'm gonna respect it. Giving me the agency and the freedom to actually contest the bosses. Mwah, chef kiss, dude. Oh my god. Bro. First time playing Elden Ring Nightreign, man. I played Elden Ring Nightreign coming directly from the main game Elden Ring. Tilted as hell, bro. I've never, worst gaming experience of my life, but that's here and there, right? I went into this game expecting to hate it, and I ended up just fanboying over it because, bro, I felt like Rock Lee taking off his goddamn weights doing the tuning exam. You know when Night Guy gave him thumbs up? Yeah, bro. Yeah, I was instantly hooked. You know, and I know like the Git Gooders are gonna be like, whoa, see, it sounds like you like inferior products. I guess, dude. I freaking guess, man. Right? I'm somebody that just like flew through Sekiro. I beat that shit in like fucking a month, right? Sekiro was that good, right? I even went out my way to ring the goddamn bell to make it harder because I'm actually used to high octane combat, right? I grew up playing Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta. If you can't tell, I'm a Capcom fanboy, shameless plug, don't care, right? But I grew up playing that, right? I'm used to that high octane pressure. I'm a huge Tekken fan, fighting game community, right? I grew up in the fighting game community. right? So at the end of the day, that slow paced combat was just not doing it for me. And Elden Ring was like, okay, we can fix that. More specifically, Elden Ring Nightreign was like, we can fix that. So they did. They gave me mobility, and that was what was missing. Don't have to worry about summoning turret. Don't have to worry about burning through goddamn stamina, right? Just to catch up with the bosses. Elden Ring Nightreign was like, yeah, you got this, have fun. And it feels so freaking good, man. To actually know that it's not my skills that's the problem, right? And I guess, like I said earlier, it's subjective. I might one day go back and replay Elden Ring, and I might change my mind on it. But the base game was just one of the most frustrating experiences of my life, especially after you got to the not the mountains. I was way before that. Once you get to the capital, the game just cranks up in difficulty just to say, yeah, we're hard, and it's completely unneeded. Right? It forgot to have fun. And I know there's a bunch of people out there who love Elden Ring main game combat. A bunch of them. You know, I'm in the minority. I'm self-aware of that. But I'm voicing my opinion because I know I'm not the only one who feels like this. I know a lot of people who don't want to touch Elden Ring after beating it again because it was just a miserable experience. They're just not as bold as I am. Or stupid, if you want to call it that. And they're not going on the internet and voicing their frustration with it. You only hear about the good things, so you're only hearing Elden Ring fanboys fanboying over it. You don't get to see the opposite side. You don't get to flip the coin and see tails, is what I'm saying. And I'm here. I'm Tails, no Sonic. And that one change alone, having the ability to hyper sprint, just makes fucking sense. You're a guy taking on godlike entities, man, and you're being limited in mobility. Yeah, miss me with that, bro. So to all the people out there who are like, well, you see, having mobility breaks emergence. Yeah, no. No. If you're not used to hyper octane combat, just say that, and then keep it a buck. Don't waste my time. But moving on to the next good thing I like about Nightreign, I love the classes. The main game lets you pick a starting class, but really it doesn't matter. And I'm not even talking about respecing or going to Renala and you know what I mean, like, no, I'm not talking about that. What I mean by it doesn't matter, in the main game, you're just him. You're Himalayan. You feel me? You're 100% him. Your DNA came back 100% him. It doesn't matter what starting class you pick. You can dibble and dabble in anything. So it doesn't matter. I can be a samurai mid-game, start spamming magic, right? I could be a freaking mage and then start using heavy weapon mid-game. It doesn't matter. Not even with respecing. Yes, there are builds in the main game that you need to hard commit your stats to make work, but for the most part, that doesn't break the game. You can still adapt as normal. In this game, your classes play drastically different than one another, right? You can pick Executor, like I did. Now, that was the first character I learned, Executor. And then just the whole experience is just like Sekiro, right? Not as intense, but it's there. If you've played Sekiro, Executor is your guy. He's your guy. Samurai turning into a giant fucking werewolf. Like, what more can I ask for, right? I played that game, and I remember I played this game back when Executor was complete dog water, right? Back on release, Executor was just trash. I just played him out of sheer stubbornness, and I loved it. I was forced to parry because outside of that, he sucked, right? So I just kind of made him a pseudo tank, right? And having that incentive to just think outside the box. Kudos to From Software. I was able to think outside the box. I remember slapping a build together to where whenever I'm guarding, I draw enemies' aggression to me. So I could literally switch to my defensive stance as Executor, guard to attract enemy aggro, and then have my partner, you know, just abuse them, and all I gotta do is just be good at parrying. Little things like that, right? If you have Wilder, who is the aura merchant of the game, you have Iron Eye, unstoppable. Iron Eye gets everything done. He is like the Honda Civic of the group. You can put a mileage with him, doesn't matter how far the distance, he'll get you there, right? Then you have Duchess. She's like the low assassin. If you're good at Bloodborne, you're gonna love Duchess. Kind of has that little side dodge step from Bloodborne. Amazing character, right? You have Guardian the Goat himself, my second favorite character. You have Recluse, your mage. You have Rev, your other mage. More incantation, but my point is, you have characters in the game that play drastically different from one another. No two characters play the same. And if you got the Forsaken Hollow DLC, comes with 2 more characters that adds a much needed breath of fresh air into the game, right? And as you learn to master each character, you learn to kind of synergize with one another. This game has solos, duos, trios, and I normally play on trios. Sometimes I play on duos when I'm playing with friends, but for the most part, I normally play on trios, and I've beaten every single Nightfarer in the game, and their Evergaol version, which is like the harder version of them. And now I'm at a point where I can just go back and help newer players complete whatever they need done, right? I'm on Deepa Night 2. I went to Deepa Night 4, woefully dropped back to Deepa Night 2 just so I can have fun again, right? But I love the combat in this game to the point where I've mastered how to take on all the bosses. When I first took on the bosses, I did it solo, because it is easier on solo. The bosses do scale with the amount of people in your group, so their health will be lowered in solo. So I beat every boss solo, then went back to trios to have fun, because to me, it's all about having fun, right? The classes play drastically different than one another, and that is a pro. That's something that, in my opinion, main game Elden Ring dropped the ball on. You know, I remember my first playthrough before I hit New Game Plus. I picked the Samurai class, and it just didn't. It felt something was off, class-wise. It just felt like I was using a katana. It didn't feel like I was an actual samurai, right? It didn't feel like I was what's his name? Yuri, the samurai dude that ends up dying from Eleonora. But it didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like an actual samurai. I felt like I was a tarnished cosplaying as a samurai. I didn't feel like an actual samurai. So I'm glad Executor fixed that, right? The classes are beautiful. I love it. The Battle Royale aspect of the game is beautiful. I love it, right? So, now that I'm done fanboying, a lot of people don't like the fact that there is no way to communicate in these games. In Elden Ring Nightreign, it's a multiplayer game, but it doesn't have a mic. I'm not so worried about that, right? It adds to the dread factor, right? These games are supposed to be brutal. You're stranded. We'll get back to that in the later end of this video. But one of the things I don't like, and it's really a From Software thing, is this is a From Software game. You're gonna deal with bullshit if you're looking on the screen like this, right? So I fell, climbing up to get back on point, and sure enough, Daddy Miyazaki gotta screw me over. I get to the top, and surprise, motherfucker! Yeah. So the whole From Software element in the game is still a thing. The enemies will hark on you. They will make you want to pull your hair out, but that's why we're here, right? From Software fans, you guys are secretly masochist and don't want to admit it. It's okay, I'm up there with y'all. But at the end of the day, that's one of the things I really don't like about the game, is the jankiness of it all. Enemies will try to fuck you sideways, and they do 9 out of 10 times. Another thing I don't like about the game is the fact that you can just leave whenever mid-match, right? There's so many times where some fucking recluse, or let me not pick on Recluse because she's a god-sent mage, but there's a third party out there. There's one out of the 3 member would just go fuck off in the distance, get jumped, get checked, dies, and then rage quits and leaves. Blessing in disguise, because that's one less person, so now the bosses are scaling with 2 people instead of 3. But at the end of the day, it cooks me. It fries my brain. It's like, bro, why uninstall the game then? Why did you load up a match if this was the energy you're going to bring into it, right? I will say making this game more of a casual, friendly type of thing has introduced the casual mindset. A lot of people out there aren't actual gamers for real. They just want to leech off of the IP, if you want to call it that. And I know I'm sounding harsh, but at the end of the day, I think a con in the game is having the ability to leave. It shouldn't be. Once you're locked in, you're locked in. Everyone has to die. You know what I mean? Everyone has to make it through the night, or everyone has to die. But outside of that, you know what I mean? That's just, you can say it's a nitpick, but it really, especially in Deep in Night, it really puts a sour taste in my mouth. But if you're looking at the screen right now, you'll see that our fucking Revenant disconnected, just rage quitted. But it is what it is, you know. We keep going. I'm not gonna quit. We're not gonna quit. God bless this Wilder for sticking it out, right? But that's it. That's really like the only 2 gripes I have about the game. Oh, and story. The story is kind of convoluted, and you have to do character side quests to kind of get the story and piece it together. But it's barely a story, at least compared to the main game, Elden Ring. If you're a lore nerd like I am, this game's gonna disappoint you. Not that there isn't a story to it. Like I said, you do the character side quest and you can piece together their story. But for me, it wasn't enough. I had questions. How did it connect to the main game? But I also have theories, and I will get into those theories later on, right? But other than that, that's it. That's my con list right there, right? At least for me, the fact that enemies can be a bit janky, and also the whole From Software shebang where they will make an enemy just bullshit. But I'm not mad on like the main game Elden Ring when they do that. In this one, I have the tools at my disposal. I have the mobility. So if I die, that's on me, and I can own that, right? I can own that. But other than those 2 things, other than the fact that the jankiness and the disconnection and the lack of story to add to the main game Elden Ring, I don't have a single problem with this game. It's quite the opposite. Like I said earlier, I love Nightreign. I want From Software to take risk more like this, right? And to the Git Gooders out there who are trying to gatekeep and be like, well, you see, it's not Elden Ring, so I don't pay attention to it. Like, kick rocks, bro. Kick rocks, bro. If you're a true Git Gooder, you will get fucking good and learn and adapt to the game. And if you do that, you might just agree with me that, hey, I really can't go back to this slow-ass, janky play. I literally can't. I can't go back and enjoy Elden Ring, because I've tried. I've tried going back to Elden Ring, and it's just, I can't. The pacing's too slow for me. It's just way too slow. I just can't. And that's me. I know I'm in the minorities, and I'm gonna own that. So, let's get to the third act of this video. The speculation, the lore that I was able to put together, the how does it connect to the main game, right? So if you want to check out, you can check out if you haven't already checked out yet. Thank you for making it this far. We're half an hour in almost, so thank you for giving me your time. And if you want to check out, now would be a great time. If you're not interested in fan fiction, me rambling some more, I don't blame you. But if I'm giving you entertainment and you want to stick it out to the very end, go grab a snack. Come listen to my rambles. So the lore of Elden Ring, Nightreign, is the last grace of America is at the round table, and you are bound or condemned to serve the will of the Round Table, through Duchess being your mouthpiece, and she can kind of reach out to this formless mother. My theory is it's an outer god, something similar to the formless mother that Moog worshipped, but a bit different. And you start out the game with no memory of who you are, what you're doing. You just kind of are condemned to do this bidding and push back the Night Lord, right? Who is the Night Lord? Well, we don't know specifically. We know that at some point the Night Lord fell in battle doing the shattering, and where the timeline deviates from the main Elden Ring is that the Night Lord was a warrior who was defeated by the Golden Order, and in his despair he uttered a curse, and the Night answered to him. So it's safe to say the Night is an aspect of divinity, such as something like the frenzy, right? Something like that, the flames of frenzy, it being an aspect of divinity from the greater will. I think the Night is something similar to that, and this outer god answered this warrior and turned him into the Night Lord, and the Night Lord started ravishing the land between. So in this alternate timeline, I think instead of the shattering happening, right? I think instead of the shattering happening, it didn't happen because the Night Lord was just going around, devouring life. If you take a look on the screen, you can see that little purple thingy in the sky. To me, it looks like a uterus. It looks like a womb. It looks like the thing that's birthing all these monstrosities. And the doorway is you entering the womb, and you are here to literally abort the Night Lord. These night terrors, right? You're sent here. You're the last line of defense by Queen America. Where did she find these folks? I don't know. The game doesn't really give you that much. However, these characters are bound from different time periods and are forced to come together if they want to go home, right? And I think that you entering these gates to take on these different Night Lords, these different aspects of the Night Lord, is similar to kind of in the main game where you're woken up as a tarnish and you're sent into the lands between, guided by grace. Difference is, in this timeline, there is little grace. If you start the game, you'll see the Round Table looking like the Round Table from the main game, but as you play through the game and you unlock characters' lore, you do their side quest, you reveal the truth behind the scenery. You see that the light, the grace that's guiding the Night Lords is dwindling, meaning you've been doing this so much that you're running out of grace. You're running out of the thing that's bringing you back, and you have so many tries left, right? And as you defeat these Night Lords and you take them out, you push back the night, and through one of the endings, I believe you have the main ending of the game where you return something of the cut and gifted tribe to him after you defeat Holster. You return it to this elder of the cut and gifted tribe, which we know are ancestors of the shamans, the America's clan, right? So you return the knot to them, which in return ends your long journey of pushing back the night, and you literally disappear into grace and return back into whatever time period you come from. But in another ending with Wilder, you become the night itself. You become the Night Lord. As you can see on the screen, we were just fighting the Night Lord. And each time these Nightfarers hop in to abort the night, they either succeed or they fail. And if they fail, they get absorbed by the night and the night grows, and then another set of Nightfarers comes along, right? I believe that each of those titans, if you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. There are these titans on the second night on the outer edge of the map that walk towards the giant tree in the center of the map. They walk towards the giant tree. I believe those are all aspects of reality. I believe those are all failed attempts of stopping the night. You've been assimilated into the night. My proof, when you finally get the true ending of the game, of Elden Ring Nightreign, you see a giant walking towards the land between. It's heavily implied that that giant is you, the player, right? And you choose to leave the land between because you succeeded. That is not your domain to conquer. And you walk backwards, back into the night, which is just my theory. All this is speculation, but it's speculation I've been able to gather up by putting together what I know of the game. So each of those giant titans is you. A version of you that failed to conquer the night. Multiple versions, multiple attempts, canonically attempts, the ones that you failed to do. And trust me, you will fail a lot before you kill your Night Lord. So it makes sense that the one version that actually succeeds, we get the ending where it retreats from the land between, not corrupting it with the night. Makes sense, right? So, just my theory, right? That's just my take on the whole story of Nightreign. Is these Nightfarers are aspects of you, the player, trying to push back the night from taking over the land between. I also believe that this was also part of America's will. We know in the main game that America is a mastermind of sorts. She's able to literally plan thousands of years, in the future, down to her children future, right? Even though she was bounded to the greater will, she was able to construct a plan and making sure that that plan came into fruition. And she did it through Mesmer, she did it through Melina, she did it through everyone in the lands between, including you, the Tarnish, that you play as, right? So we know America is a mastermind. And I believe that this too is a safety net of sorts. What if she were to lose to the aspect doing the shattering? So this was her safety plan. She came together, drew the Nightfarers together to push back the night, and by doing so, consequently trapping them in a loop, right? We know lore-wise that she was also able to trap her enemies within this alternate reality. The people, the shaman, they viewed the first sin, the sin that she committed, which I believe was her sleeping with the fire giants in order to get Mesmer. But that's all here and there. That's speculation. So, hope you enjoyed my theory. This video was very fun to put together, and to the people out there, the Git Gooders who want to write this game off, please don't. Give it a try. Don't hollow out. Just keep going. It's a From Software game, and if you claim to love From Software, give this game a try. Stop bashing it on the internet. Stop talking down or looking down on it. It's a wonderful game. Yes, it's not main game Elden Ring. I really hope that if they make an Elden Ring 2, that they take aspects of what they learned from this game and implement it in there. Give me the ability to sprint, to keep up with the bosses. If you're gonna make the bosses cracked up their ass like Sekiro, don't force me to play Dark Souls, dude. If I want to play Dark Souls, I will just download Dark Souls. Don't force me to play Dark Souls and call it Elden Ring. That shit's dead, right? Give me something new. Give me something different. Nightreign was able to deliver on that, and that's why I really like this game. So, if you made it out this long, if you stick it out this long, thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for giving me your energy. It won't be taken for granted. So, anyway, this is Black Wolf, and I hope you enjoyed my Nightreign video. Till next time, peace. I typically try to end my video with some form of philosophy to better help out my audience going through things in life. And since this is about Nightreign, I figured I'd have the perfect one in mind for you. There's a poem I remember back when I was a kid. I don't know the author, the guy that came up with it, but it goes along the lines of, do not go gentle into the dying of the night. Rage, rage against the dying of the night.
You do this every day?
So,
yeah.
peace.
Why? Because I love it.
Yo. What's wrong?